Hi, I'm Jen Spencer, and this is Jen Spencer's 10-Minute Book Club. Hi, readers. I am so happy to have you here today. We have a really fun interview. I'm interviewing Nancy Peterson, who is a book narrator, and you are going to love hearing about how she narrates a book, how she got into it. If you ask a question or make a comment in the comment section below, you'll automatically be entered to win a copy of my book, Dandelion Meadows, which is new in the Dandelion Meadows series, and you are going to love it. It's hilarious. It's romantic. It's just the perfect January read for cold winter nights. Also, you'll be entered to win an audiobook of Sarah Eden's Choices of the Heart, which is the book that Nancy just got done narrating and came out this month. So please ask questions, make comments, and I'm so excited for you to meet Nancy Peterson. Nancy, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here as well.
You look kind of like you're in your safe room. Like
Yes.
the panic room. What's
Yes.
that called, that movie?
It does kind of look like a panic room, doesn't it? I do have padded walls for sure. This is my booth. This is where I do all my recording, and it's a quiet place in my house where I can close the door and just kind of, work.
Yeah. Well, so
while everyone else goes about their lives too, which is ridiculous. Because otherwise I'm like, you guys, I can't record. You're too loud.
Oh yeah, I would think you would have to either live alone or just have that, have somewhere you can go. So, well, so tell us about yourself, your career. I'm just so excited for my readers to get to know you.
Okay. Well, my path's been very interesting because, ever since I was really little, I've been listening to audiobooks. I've always had a love of them, and the cassettes or the records. I remember listening to a Disney record when I was young that had the story of the three pigs. I could probably still sing the songs and quote the whole thing to you because I would listen to it so often. So for some reason, audio was always really important to me. It was how how I would learn. I'd learn better through audio, and my father for a while was unable to see, and so that's when I learned, you can get anything. You can get the Reader's Digest or Time Magazine or other periodicals. When I was little, you could get them on these floppy black things that you'd put on your record player and listen to. So when I was in sixth grade, my friend and I would grab Encyclopedia Brown, and we would sneak my dad's tape recorder, which we were not supposed to get into, but we would actually read. We would do basically audiobooks. And
that is just so cool.
Yeah. So, the long and winding story is a little more complicated, but as I've loved to perform since I was young. I've been in plays since fifth grade, and and then I've done a little bit of, commercial television, film, work, stage.
I've seen you in a movie or two, so that's
I've done a Hallmark movie or two, and a few things here and there. So yeah, that's been really fun.
And you're a singer too, right? I've heard you sing.
Great. I do. I was a vocal performance major at the University of Utah.
Oh, really? My daughter was too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's very cool.
So that's my background in the performing world. So, and then it's only been the last 7 years that I've been doing audiobooks, and only the last 3 or 4 that I've been doing them full time.
That you kind of been able to make it lucrative or make it something you could do as a living.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So tell us about, well, how did you first get into, like, what was your first book, and how did you decide, okay, this is what I want to do?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm the type of person, if I get my mind on something, I do it. And a lot of the times I get into trouble because I will get myself into situations where I'm like, this is beyond what I thought. But it's also served me. I just basically Googled audiobook narrator. And at the time, there wasn't a lot out there. There was the audiobook companies that are still out there and available, but they were getting most of their talent from, the coasts, people who had been acting, and this was just another arm of their acting repertoire, from the agencies on the coasts. Um, I did, however, find a little website called ACX, which is basically a platform. It's Amazon and Audible. They're all one big company.
Hmm.
And authors can take their books there if they have the audio rights and post them and take auditions. And it was a great tool for me to get started in audiobooks.
Hmm.
And so that's basically where I started, was on ACX. And I don't work with ACX as much anymore. I mostly work directly with publishers at this point. So
Okay. So, what are your, how many books have you narrated,
as
do you
of
think?
yesterday, oh, we had some more releases and pre-orders come out. So on Audible, you'll see probably a 170 something. I have done more, but yeah, so probably between 175 and 190, something like that.
And how long does it take you to narrate a book?
Okay, so that's
Probably
a really good
depends.
question, because just reading a book is so much faster than reading it
Yes.
aloud, because I have to be word perfect. So in general, it takes me at least 2 hours to finish 1 hour of audio.
Okay.
So I would say if your book is just sort of a regular, most romances are formatted very similarly. If your book is, say, a 300-page book, that's going to be anywhere between 8 and 9 hours finished. And that will take me probably 18 to 20 hours to do. So a
Do
couple
that.
weeks.
Wow.
So
And do you read the book first
yeah,
before you narrate it?
yeah.
And how is this? And you are an actress, and so I know there's a lot of acting that goes into narrating a book with the different voices, like a man and a woman. Do you lower your voice? Do you do anything different
Yes.
other than just different intonation?
Well, I think that is a really good question, because if you were to sample 20 different audiobooks, you're going to get 20 different styles.
Mm,
There, it depends on the genre. It depends on so many different things, but some narrators give just a straight read and they win just as many awards as someone who does all the voices and does the inflections. But the difference is, someone who does more of a straight read, they still have to tell the story in a way that you can see it in your head. And
right.
so that's really important. Otherwise, especially fiction, because it gets confusing, otherwise, if you have a multitude of characters. And a
Mhm.
good narrator can do that. And some do use a lot of different voices. I mean, I often say, no one's going to believe I'm an 80-year-old man. They're just not. They
Right.
know it's me, right? When I'm narrating. So what helps though is if I do, I mean, I can I can move in slightly like this. I can lower my pitch just a little bit. And I just maybe adjust my jaw down, and you do little tricks like that, because obviously I'm not, I don't have the timbre of a bass man, or I don't sound like a child, but there are tricks you can do, with the pacing, with the intonation, and with maybe little affectations, you know, to come across a little bit differently. And the real magic happens in someone's mind as they're listening. They're really, I mean, for me, and I think for a lot of people, they're seeing it as it happens, right? Just like when you read a book or see a movie, your mind is creating pictures. And so the voice sometimes disappears in a sense, and you're seeing something that's your own creation as you listen. It's
Oh,
all,
wow. Yeah.
you see
I
how,
love
I mean,
that.
yeah.
I love that. So I directed something a couple years ago over at the local theater over here. It's a Wonderful Life Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life radio play.
I saw
And
that
did you?
and I
And
loved it. It was
it
so
wasn't
good.
it so good. And
Yes.
there were, so each character had to do several different voices. And we had Scott Fisher, who's a radio personality, and he came and tried out, and he was amazing. But he did a lot of that same thing. He'd pitch his voice a certain way or have a certain mannerism. I was just astounded at the talent that we had in that show. But I think that's really neat. That would be, well, and you're a professional, so you have really worked on, how you want to do it, what sounds good, what you think puts, uh, delineates, what you think maybe makes one voice different from another. So I think that is really impressive and just so fascinating.
And it's fun too. I
I
get to play
love.
all the parts in the book.
Yeah.
That is like the best acting job ever, is I get to be everybody. So,
So you've narrated 170 books plus. Um, do you have 3 or 4 that you could tell us that have been maybe among your favorites?
oh gosh, I have to say one of my favorites was maybe the first book I ever did on ACX. And it was a big challenge because it required a German accent, which
Oh,
I do not, I had to study. The author was German, and I auditioned on a whim because I was just challenging myself basically to see what I could do. And she worked with me on that German accent. It is her mother's story, and it really affected me profoundly. It was called, oh, now I can't even remember it. I should have written it down, but um, her mother literally saved lives in World War II.
oh,
Um, the Night I Danced with Rommel
the night I
by
danced.
Elizabeth. And I can't. I'm sorry. I'm coming up short on everything right now. But Elizabeth Marion is the author, but she was wonderful to work with, and I gained some skills that I didn't have before.
Hmm.
And looking back, it may not be a great audiobook, I'll be honest, because it was one of my first, but it was a very powerful story, one that really impacted me. And to this day, really my wheelhouse is World War II historical fiction,
Hmm.
women's perspective. And that's probably the largest body of my work is in that genre. So that was kind of propelled me in a direction that has stayed.
Oh, that is great. Do you, I know you won an award. Tell me about that. It was kind
Okay,
of like
that
the Oscars of book narration, wasn't it?
yeah, that they do say that. It's called the Audis. It's the Audio Publishers Association, and it's their big, awards show every year in New York. And that was back in 2018. And I was nominated for historical fiction with World War II. Had to do German accents. This was a
Good.
different book called Catching the Wind. And it was another lovely, wonderful story by Melanie Dobson. And I do a lot of Melanie's work still today. I from different publishers, they reach out to me because it was such a good collaboration. But yeah, so I won the inspirational fiction award that year
Oh,
and was stunned because I didn't expect to win it, but it was wonderful. So
that is that is a huge accomplishment and very impressive. Congratulations. That is really
thank you.
neat because there are hundreds of books out there. So just to have that recognition, that's
Yeah,
really
it meant a lot. I was, like I said, I was surprised, especially, in talking with a publisher the night before. They have this big mingle thing where you go and mingle with all the publishers. And I went up to one of them and he said, "Hey, congratulations on your nomination." I said, "Yeah, but I I'm against, and I started listing all the people in the category, and I'm not expecting to win. They're like, nah, you're not going to win. So I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was a big surprise, to be honest.
Great. Okay. So we just have a few more minutes. What is your favorite romantic movie?
Pride and Prejudice, either version.
Like
I
the,
love them both for different reasons.
like,
The
are
two
you
big,
saying like the either 6 hour version or, I
yep.
mean, there's so many versions.
That's true. Either the Keira Knightley, the only two
Okay.
I've ever seen, I both loved them both. The Keira Knightley version and the Colin Firth,
Firth.
and I can't think of her name right now. I can't think of names. It's because this camera's looking at me. I can't think of names. It's just, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll watch either of those. I think that's probably my favorite romantic movie.
I love those. I love the Colin Firth version. I really, really liked the Keira Knightley version, but it felt like Pride and Prejudice, like in fast forward motion. They just
Yeah.
put so much into those, whatever it was, 2.5 hours. But I love that one too. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. Okay, so last question. You're stranded on a desert island. Would you rather have a lifetime supply of toilet paper or chocolate?
Toilet paper. I am very practical. I think of all the things I could do with toilet paper. I mean, it could be very handy. I
That's
might
true.
starve, but I'd have a multitude of things to use with that toilet paper, plus the rolls. You could build something maybe with those rolls. You never know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Just saying.
Even
Maybe a
just
raft.
maybe a raft or even a blanket.
Great.
Nancy, it's been so great to talk to you. So interesting. Just love learning a little bit more about that space you're in. And readers, remember, if you ask a question or make a comment, you'll be entered to win a copy of Dandelion Meadows by me, and also an audio copy of Choices
of the Heart. We're going to reach out
Choices
to
of the Heart,
Yes.
which
If
is
we can get a copy
the
of
one that just came out by Sarah Eden.
Yes.
So we just ask any question you want, comment, and you'll be entered to win. Nancy, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure.